I recently had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Robert Casey of Bleeding Yankee Blue, otherwise known as BYB. BYB is one of the leading New York Yankee blogs in the industry today. Mr. Casey started this blog in 2010 and has since grown by adding 9 other writers. In an effort to vent his joys and frustrations, he turned a hobby into a career, collecting close to 3 million hits in his site, or as he likes to call them, BYB freaks. When I first made the request to Mr. Casey for an interview, he asked it remained off camera, as he prefers to be somewhat private in his personal life. I was excited enough just to get an opportunity to pick his mind. I was more than willing to work by his rules and fully understand, as I am of the same mindset. A writer likes to live on through his words. My email interview started with some reminiscing of past interactions I've had with BYB, as my son was nominated as the BYB Fan of the Week, partly because of his middle name, Gehrig, after Lou Gehrig. He also graciously helped me with another class by adding my Full Sail Twitter account. I sent him my questions and he responded with, "Very deep questions. I hope I stack up. All I ask is that maybe you could show us the final presentation when done." Could we? I, of course, was more than willing to share my final presentation, as I want my message and work to be seen, read, and appreciated just as much as the next guy. So here we go. I hope you enjoy the interview. Thank you for your time today, Mr. Casey. My first question for you is, what do you see as the role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession? Casey's response was, well, for me personally, with BYB, I just wanted to be different. If you look at the other Yankee blogs, they all look pretty much the same. Light backgrounds, the same fonts, ugly pictures, or the same pictures as one another. We don't do that. In fact, we rarely repeat a photograph. If you look at mine, it's a different looking, content aside. Just look at the lettering, it's not standard. I wanted color. I wanted things to pop off my site rather than blend like so many of the others. It's funny, I have always had more of an artistic flair. So when someone who is the standard stat nerd looks at it, they consider it ugly, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. They think it's ugly probably because they've seen the standard look on so many other websites over the years. I don't call it ugly. I call it different, and the BYB readers get it. That makes me happy. I like my numbers, but I definitely wouldn't call myself a stat nerd. I do like how you put your website together, though. My next question is, new communications and media technologies have imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on your field/industry? Please provide an example. Casey's response was, it's a positive. You got to keep moving and using your imagination to create. It's part of the process of life, and in my blog world, social networks drive my website traffic, and there are new ones popping up every day. A lot of my traffic is generated from Facebook and Twitter, but now I notice that Sulia is starting to generate a ton of traffic. That's a perfect example. New is a good thing. You just need to go with the flow. In my business, you must dare to be different and creative. Luckily for me, the other websites haven't figured out that yet. I found a window of opportunity, and we're winning here at BYB. Well, Sulia is definitely different from me. My next question is, what popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry? The response I got from Mr. Casey was, well, for me, it's the Yankees symbol. Anything Yankees. The fans gravitate to. We try to incorporate as many Yankee images as possible in our items, and we make it a strategy to incorporate it all the time. As far as what I was saying before about social networks, most of the websites now utilize social network buttons on their pages. This is a way for someone on Facebook or Twitter to be on a page, and then they see the Twitter bird, for instance, and just click on it. It's brilliant marketing. Very cool, very cool. So my next question is, who is one of your favorite visual artists, and or what is your favorite style of visual art? Mr. Casey said, I love Salvador Dali and Jackson Pollock, and my favorite style is anything that I've never seen before that sucks me in. Dali and Pollock are geniuses. I can stare at their work for hours. There are always questions, and I work through their pieces thinking a lot, with such a passion. I love the art field, and I love that they did something that no one else did. They stand out. They are the gold standard in art history. I'll have to check out Jackson Pollock's work. I have not seen it before. Very cool. My last question for you is, how was your knowledge of famous artworks to influence your creative process? Mr. Casey finished the interview with, BYB dares to be different. We know that concept is not popular because many are scared of that. And maybe visually, you can look at my site and say, I don't like it. Well, I don't care. It's mine, and it's not just a website, it's a piece of art. My art. I remember back in 2010, I was on Twitter and came across a tweet. Somebody was tweeting a friend, I guess, and they wrote something like, did you see that ugly Bleeding Yankee Blue website? At first I was shocked. I was even a little disappointed. Then I realized that they didn't understand the movement of BYB and what we were doing. That moment allowed me to have more drive than I ever did before. In fact, for a while, I had printed it out and put it on my corkboard. It's a reminder that closed-minded people will never get it, and that's okay, because we have an audience and amazing writers that do. I just want to thank Mr. Casey for his time and all the assistance he has provided me in my education goals. I look forward to not only reading the BYB blog, but working with him in the future. Keep up the good work, Casey.